I can see it.
All
Okay, where do
right.
I hit?
So go, hi,
Where do I?
everybody. We're live. Beth's trying to get her thing. So when you're on there, you should be able to hit share and then go ahead and put share as watch party. Hi, everybody. So you got to
I
turn your
should probably
volume
turn that
down.
down, huh?
Yes, exactly. Hey, we're getting Beth
Okay.
live tonight on her page too. Oh, but you're not
Okay. Start
Scotty
watch
talked about it.
party.
Yeah,
Got
start
it.
watch party. There you go. Now you got it going. Now everybody can watch it.
Yay.
See, taught you something tonight. Hey,
I feel like
everybody.
I've matured in 5 minutes.
I
Hey,
always
everybody. Now, I honestly won't be able to read comments.
no.
I'll
Don't
let
worry
you do
about it.
that.
Yeah, I got the comments, so we're all good.
Okay, good. All right. Well, it's been a long time since we've talked.
I know it's been too long. So hi Jay Lynch, hi Donna, hi Robin, hi everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Zoom room. Got one of my dearest friends. And if we have some issues tonight, we'll always just wait for her because Zeta is coming up right past her tonight. So did I say you're going to get a lot of that rain in Georgia?
Yes.
Aren't you? You're in Atlanta, right?
Yes. And it's supposed to smack into the cold front at the same time, that ice storm. So it's supposed to be really interesting here. Actually, probably more interesting than some of the other states it's going through with the timing. So we'll see.
Ice
I
storm.
like to rock and roll. Yeah. We won't get ice, but I think it causes a major disturbance between the ice storm and that. You know what I mean?
Yep. Hi Devin, welcome. So okay, so everybody doesn't know Beth and Beth's been on my shows for years. She used to be on the Buzz with us. We used to do readings. Hi Nate.
Gosh, that was a blast.
I know we had a good time doing it. Maybe we'll get into one or so tonight with somebody, but yeah. So Beth Peters is with me tonight, psychic medium from Atlanta, Hotlanta tonight, Icelanta.
Hi, guys. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad to be back. Last time we did it was 3 years ago. We saw each other in person.
Yeah, that's
Remember?
true. We met at a restaurant, didn't we, with your boys
We did. And Terry, we
and your
came down and
wife? Yep.
yeah, that's when we were building. We have 13 Psychics Unite groups already.
No, I remember that's the creation. That's when you were talking about it.
Right. That's when we first started talking about it, and you were
That's
one we were bouncing ideas off of to see how we're gonna get this going. And now we have Zoom meetings on Monday nights that we have groups all the way from Albuquerque. Devin in the chat room runs one in Columbus, Ohio. We have a bunch in Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, Indiana, Florida. So a bunch around.
that's awesome. It just seems like yesterday you were talking about that in the vision, and you and Terry were talking about it. I was like, yeah, we need that. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Very
and it's
cool.
big.
That's amazing.
So of course we need one in Atlanta.
Hint, hint.
I'm not very subtle, and you know that.
No, I know. We discussed that then too, didn't we?
I think we did. I think it was back
We
then.
did. Yep, we
But that was
did.
right when you were starting your own private business, though, and that was kind of cool. And that's
Thank,
really booming. I'm very, very proud of you for that. So
thank you. Thank you.
so why don't you give a little bit about
You're
you?
full time too now.
I am full time too now. That's different. That's way different. That's way different. Oh, hey, Jay.
A little bit about me.
Yeah.
So let's see. It's so funny. I always seem to brag about myself, and now I'm like, I don't know what to say. Um, I'm a mother of 5. I'm the grandmother of 4, and I am a psychic and a medium. And I do this work full time. I have an office in Buckhead in Atlanta that I drive to during the week, and I have like real office hours. So I don't mix my pleasure and my business. And I do animal communication and galleries. And I used to have a radio show for, believe it or not, 2 years on the United Intention Network. And I've been on a paranormal team for, gosh, I don't know how many years. I'm kind of taking a hiatus back though, actually more than kind of. So because I mainly now just do field trips with them because I'm so busy doing readings and doing the professional stuff online. It just was taking too much time to review the evidence. So now I do the reports for them and I do their clerical work. And if they have a field trip they want to invite me on, then if I can go, I go. So it's always fun. But that's Ghosts of Georgia Paranormal Investigation with an S. It's probably been 15 years. I don't know. I may be overestimating that. I'm not sure. If they're listening, hi, Ed. Hi, everybody. So yeah, I do this work full time. People book appointments with me. You can Google me, Beth Peters, psychicmedium.com. You can find me on Google Maps and you can find me on the website. Everything is Beth Peters, Google Maps, or not Google Maps, psychicmedium.com. You'll find me. It's pretty easy to find.
I'm going to call you out on something. Why did you put the pause between psychic and medium?
Because you can do two different kinds of readings or you can mix them. So when I do mediumship, I like to, for my clients' sake that don't speak our language, I like to separate them and realize when they are talking about mediumship, then we're more than likely going to talk to their animals who have crossed over or their family members or their friends who have crossed over. But if we're just doing psychic work, then that's on a different level and a kind of a different connection, even though I'm connecting to their spiritual team. So on a psychic work level, it's more like intuitive guidance. It's like seeing the future, things like that. But I don't do gypsy reading. I don't do like the crystal ball stuff because I'm very aware that people don't laugh at me, because people have free will.
I'll let you finish, but what was funny is on at Monday night at Psychics Unite, we talked about crystal balls. So it was
oh, did you really? I don't do that. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody.
No, we're talking about it, and if people really do use that, because I was talking about people's gifts and how people need just to read through themselves and not all the gifts, because tarot cards are a good thing, crystal balls, but I was saying like on people's websites, are we because the big thing I was talking about is did you see Saturday Night Live with the psychic?
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, isn't that a stereotype?
Yes. And I am so about getting outside of that, because
That's what
I
talking.
really, honestly, if it weren't for marketing purposes, I wouldn't even use the word psychic and medium. But through business coaches, I've discovered, and through search engines and using all of those tactics through Google, I really have to use those words, because that's the language that people understand. But if I could change it, I would change it in a heartbeat, because it's not, I don't think it truly represents the work that we do at all. So the connection that we do is at a level that's beyond any cards or any pendulums or crystal balls can do, because you're really going into channel just like mediumship when you're doing healing work and you're doing psychic work. But for my client's sake and for the verbiage sake, I like to differentiate them. So, because some people, believe it or not, if you're in the middle of a reading talking to them about how their job's going, they may not be opening to their grandmother coming in. So it kind of gives like a boundary there where I can say, okay, you just want psychic work then. You know what I'm saying? And so we're clear. So I don't just surprise them like I did at a gallery last night. And I left this poor woman crying when I left, because she was not expecting to hear from her mother. And there was a miscommunication there. And I felt horrible because she was not prepared for that. And yeah, it happened.
So, yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, because didn't you promote it as Beth Peters Psychic Medium?
Yes, yeah, it was. So you do your best, but you're still working with, some people don't even understand when you say energy or vibration, or, we take it for granted because we use the terminology so freely. We know what each other are saying. But when it comes to regular people, a lot of people are not in that terminology. So it kind of goes over their head. So I have to be real careful in readings to make sure I'm using dialogue that is accepted, that's well understood. So when I go into a reading, I even pray about it and I ask. And I hope I don't have anybody that
A little choppy here, so hang on.
don't pray like
Hang on.
me, but I ask for the.
Hang on, Beth's getting choppy.
You got it?
Yeah, you were getting choppy, so the
Okay.
Zeta must
be. I know. It's not there yet. I think we're under. I don't know. Okay, can you hear me now?
can. Yes.
Okay. So when I go into prayer for a reading, I'll ask for the gift of tongues. So, and what I'm doing with that is asking for the ability to receive messages for the highest good of others, and, and, and that I'm able to deliver in a manner. So I'm not asking for the, and I do it individually for each reading. And that's why most of the time after the reading, I won't even remember it because it's not really me. It's coming from another place. And
Right.
I've learned to trust that.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. When I do my psychic work only, yeah, I don't bring in loved ones, but sometimes I bring the message through as a psychic message. But I do the same thing in mediumship because I usually have somebody there, and they get so messed up. I'm not going to spend most of the reading and go, okay, that's psychic, okay, that's medium. I'm just going to give the
No.
message the way it comes.
Yeah, exactly. But I think because I do so many and because of marketing, some people really do want the difference. But the thing is I always tell people when they book, we can mix it up. We can do both if you want. But I found it, unfortunately and fortunately, to be a good differentiation. Differentiation of
Well, that was just
really,
the screen freezing.
yeah, of giving people what they're asking for. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
it's hard on our part because, like you said, we're doing it anyway.
Right.
So it's really a matter of kind of being guarded with what they're okay with, you
Yeah.
know.
And this is so funny because this is the other step because Devin puts it in. Yeah, we were just talking about that, breaking the stereotypes. And so that's what it is because a lot of times, I've done shows with belly dance scarves that Terry sells on my head, but that's not what psychics are. You know what I mean? Just like
No.
mediums aren't the weird ones either. Mediums talk to the dead. See, Terry and I have changed our thoughts a little bit on this. We call psychic as the spectrum now. So you're on the psychic spectrum. So you
I
could,
like that.
you could be
It's a
down on,
one big umbrella.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of like autism or anything like that.
Yeah.
So on one side, you're psychic and you're an empath and you feel the energies. And the other side, you talk to dead people and you're somewhere in between.
I love it. You are definitely, and you use all of those tools of receiving and exchanging in everything you do. You do it in healing work, you do it, believe it or not, in paranormal investigations, you do it everywhere. You're doing it anytime you're serving someone. So the only people that really need the definitions are the people you're serving. We know what we're doing. But, sometimes those people need a little bit of clarity, but that's it. You know what I mean? And that's really just for marketing purposes only. It's not really for, I don't need it and you don't need it. But you're right, it's all under the spectrum. And one of the things that I really like to preach is that there's no rules to this work. Everyone receives in millions of ways that they don't even know all the ways they're receiving. So if you pinch yourself off by saying, oh, I'm only clairvoyant or oh, I'm only clairsentient, well, then that's your problem. It's not spirit's problem. We receive in so many different ways. I don't even think we're even able to comprehend how many ways we receive. So there's no rules to it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just doing it the way it comes for you in a fashion that you can serve the highest good and that you are able to understand it yourself. And you don't have to worry about comparing your way to anybody else. You do it your way. And then that way you will shine for the people that you need that come to you. Because it's all divinity. It's all parse meal the way it's supposed to be.
See, Devin, I told you she could run a class at psychic tonight. She sounds just like everything we say. But that's true because I say the only thing because the more everybody is just themselves because we all read different. Everybody does, no
Yep.
matter what. If they're my student, I don't want them to read like me. I want them to read like themselves. I want them to understand. And I think the only thing I'd add to what you said would be the fact that the biggest thing that people limit themselves on is their self-trust.
Yes, absolutely. They pinch themselves off. They
Yeah,
really do. They just
and
pinch.
that's all them not believing in themselves that they could do this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you can let go of your ego and just do what you're supposed to do, because obviously you're doing this honestly out of service of others. If you're not doing it out of service of others, I don't know what you're using it for.
Right.
So if you're doing what you're called to do, You have to step out of the way and let spirit do the work. You can ask questions later, but let spirit do the work. You know what I'm saying? Because I still, even though I've been in business for a good while for myself, I learn through every reading still. There are still things that blow me away that I don't expect to see. And I'm like, oh, I hope I remember this because I never expected this. You know what I'm saying? And so you just have to be really, really open. And actually, it's just being used. You're just being used, is what it is.
Right.
And you have
Yep.
to be open to that.
Robin says in the chat room, just like I told her to get out of her own way. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Devin says, trusting our experiences is a convo I just had with my guys today. I think it's still a topic of experience psychics. Yeah, it always is, because there's always times when we need the validation yet too. But
Oh, yeah.
there's always that, and that's, unfortunately, that's human. So we
Yeah.
have to add that to it, because there's got to be some yes, we're getting this right.
Well, it's funny you say that, Devin, because I did a gallery last night and I really went home. I normally don't hang on to any of my readings whatsoever. And if you're hanging on to them, you're not doing something right. You need to be able to let go.
Listen
And
up, student.
so, yeah, yeah. And a good sign is you don't remember the reading up the next day. You can remember the person, but if you remember the details of the reading, you're probably not doing it right. You've got to let it go. But last night I went home kind of upset that I upset that lady because there was some miscommunication. She was there with 8 other people that were clearly getting mediumship, and she was in the crowd. And I guess she just didn't think that her mom would come through, and she just came through and she didn't expect it. So it threw her, but it bothered me on a personal level, a human level, because I felt bad that I made her, like, she just wasn't crying just because it was like real crying. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was still crying when I left. So I felt bad about that. Like, oh gosh, I kind of stepped on some boundaries without realizing it. But then and it kind of made me doubt myself a little bit. So even people that do this professionally doubt, like, why didn't I tune into that before it happened? You know what I'm saying? But then I had a bunch of phone readings today. And one of the things that I struggled with last night was visual clarity. Like, one parent came through that didn't look exactly the way I was describing them. And I thought, man, am I not seeing clearly? This is weird. I always do this. So today, when I had a reading, trying to make this story short, I had a very specific reading with a
Okay, we
man
got
that
plenty of
died.
time. We got plenty of time. There's no one behind us.
Okay, good. And I saw him vividly, and I of course I let it go. And of course, in someone else's reading, you're not thinking about anything that happened before. But as a gift to me for confirmation, it was so cool. It was like my guides knew I needed it at that time. After we hung up, the girl sent me the picture of her father. And Scotty, I kid you not, every detail of that picture was exactly what I saw. And I went, oh, thank God. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're back on track. I was only off track for maybe 4 hours, but we're back on track.
Yeah, but see, I just to let you know, I don't think you're off track at all. I just, I it's just because you and the love that you have inside of you and the wonderful person you are, that you felt bad for that. But she needed that. And that's the reason why it came through,
Yeah.
because she needed that healing. And yes, it maybe was a gallery compared to it. But I always say, if you're coming to my gallery, then you've signed the permission slip for me to go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
did
that's the
that.
truth. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So you know what you're going into. You're coming
Yeah.
to a place, and doesn't necessarily mean you'll get a reading, but if you do, it's going to be whatever comes in. And then we always have to remember that it's not what we want to hear, it's what we need to hear.
Right.
So that was the kind of stuff that's happening.
It's hard though. You're right. I know it is. And that's where, as psychics, we can sometimes get in trouble because our ego gets in the way and we connect at the heart chakra. And we have a tendency to feel too much in that and not stay neutral. So it's a good lesson to remember that you're really just doing service and you really do have to step out of the way. This is not a time for heart chakra connection. Y'all can talk later.
Right.
So,
Yeah, especially
yeah.
when you're doing the thing. And that's the other thing that I teach all my students. Day class, you sit down and the first thing I tell you is never mix energy.
Yeah.
Never mix your energy. And once you start doing it, you're off track, and things just go how
Absolutely.
they want to be. Off track.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because then if you're mixing your energy, then you could be reading what their subconscious actually wants you to say. So you end up reading them instead of this way. So you're in this channel instead of being in this channel. That really looked crude, but that's not how I meant it to look.
Yeah,
So
it's sure different than radio, huh?
yeah, no fines here.
Yeah, who cares?
Sorry.
It's Facebook.
Right.
It's a lot worse on it already.
Oh my gosh. I remember when they told me on my show that it was $7,000 a cuss word. I was like, what? Okay, duly noted. I'm not cussing.
Like, you can cuss like tonight, because if you don't cuss, I'm going to think I have the wrong guest.
Good. Good. So yeah, I mean, for everybody that's listening, the work of a psychic and a medium, both, I mean, we're both, you know that, if we're using those terms, um, it never stops. We're always learning. I don't think there is a mastery. I think that it's an evolutionary process. And as we change as people, we also have to change and go with the flow. And you know as well as I do, Scotty, that a lot of the work is not just the ability to be able to get the information, but we also have to have the people skills to be able to deliver that information as well. You know what I mean? Without connecting at the heart chakra. So it's a whole process. You're handling this and you're handling that all kind of at the same time.
Right, exactly.
So
And that's the important thing is, we have to always be of our own energy. But now the other thing, because I talk about psychic as a spectrum, I always say mediums have a bunch of this. So all mediums are psychics, but not all psychics are
right.
mediums.
Exactly. That's true. That's true. Some psychics don't want to be mediums. I've talked to a lot of them
That's
and
okay.
they,
I know, me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Card
I
readers
don't
do the same.
know, but I'm sure this has been discussed in your groups before, but I really struggle with that because is it just that they don't want to identify a loved one that they're talking to? Because really, if you're in a channel and you're discussing information with their guides, then you're doing mediumship work.
Exactly.
So I don't get it.
All right, here I go. I'm going to be disclaimer. So if you don't want Scotty on the soapbox, turn off now and then come back in 5 minutes. I think it's ego because
Oh,
because I
really?
yeah, because I think people don't want to be wrong. And if you could tell them
Oh,
if you could tell them it comes from a card, say, see,
you're
I've got,
right. I
I've
didn't even
got,
think of that.
I've gotten very straightforward in my old life.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Come on
Yeah,
back,
I've
come
had
on back.
people.
I'm off the box.
Yeah, yeah.
But does that make
I've
sense?
actually had people. Yeah, totally, totally. Because I'm sitting there thinking you are doing mediumship work. You're just having it under a different title.
Right,
So just because you don't identify the person doesn't mean you're not doing it.
correct.
So, and personally, I think I've shared this with you personally. I'm way too ADD to use cards or pendulums or anything else. I have to have that straight channel or because I'm squirrel. And so all of that distracts me. I don't even use it. It's fun to know how to use it so you have that knowledge and that ability. And sometimes it's fun to play games with it. But as a source for actually doing what I'm paid to do, I don't do them. I just go straight to the source.
So Devin has a question. She says, do you think there's a negative stigma on mediums in the psychic community?
Um, No, not per se. I think if you're in the psychic community, for the most part, I think it's pretty accepting that there's like Scotty said, there's such a big umbrella of the work that everybody knows each other does different types of work. Personally, I haven't seen a stigma of that. I just think the stigma is being in the psychic community alone. I mean, that is the stigma. So, but if you're already in the community, I don't think there is a separate, no, that's my answer.
Right.
What do you think?
I agree. I think it's the same. But I think, be honest, I think there's more stigmas with mediums to psychics.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
'Cause I've
probably.
seen more than that because they go, why aren't they using it more? They're already getting the message. It's very similar to what you're saying. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
that's what the mediums are saying. It's like, you're already doing this. I mean, that's, and I got kind of in it in our Psychics Unite meeting about this too, about tarot cards. I'm not against tarot cards. Let me just say that now. I have them right here. I have my oracle cards
Right.
behind me.
Me either.
I
Right.
have them. Okay.
Yep. Right.
But I think that 90% of the message comes from spirit, and you're just validating yourself with the card.
Exactly. And if you're ADD like me, you can find yourself trying to make something fit in that because it came in the card when really you have the real answer already.
Correct.
It's just a, it's
I
a,
gotta have you
well,
at meetings. I gotta have you at meetings. I'm like the only one sometimes.
yeah.
And
I
Beth,
mean,
what do you think?
personally, I'm not trying to call anybody out. It's okay. They may arrive to where they're more comfortable being able to do it without cards. But personally, I think it's a crutch. I mean, I do. I think it's because they are not, they don't trust themselves enough to get information without having that crutch in front of them. So they're relying on it. And
And
so for them, it's a good thing. But for me, it's a distraction.
right, right. And but when I call somebody out on it, I'm not calling out to be mean. I'm just
Right.
trying to show them deep down that they're a stronger reader than they believe. You
Yeah.
know, and really that's what it is. I want everybody to read at their highest potential. And
Right.
that's whatever you can do. If you need it because you're starting out, fine. You know, if it's a good crutch. I started out with dowsing rods way back when, you
Oh,
know,
wow.
way back when, 2008,
That's cute.
9, way back before even people knew
That's
what
fun.
dowsing rods were. No, 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 not that old.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? But it's one of those things, you know, I started out with too because it would give me yes or no. So I would word a lot of my readings in yes or no. And you know, and I would say, you know, can you understand? All of a sudden, all right, that was the answer.
Right. Right. I think some people too like the entertainment value of it. And some people, honestly, ooh, this is going to sound bad too, but we're talking about the stereotyping. Some people really like that stereotyping and they like that dark look. They like wearing the purple velvet and, their rooms are dressed up, and that's okay. But sometimes those tools play a part in that scene. So
Correct.
it's part of the aesthetics.
Yep.
And so, I mean, that more to them, but I don't know. I just on a personal opinion for me, I work better in a very, very clean environment. I drink water. I don't eat anything junk. I don't have sodas. My room is well lit. Everything is very clean. So there's no distractions whatsoever. So I'm getting
Nature.
everything in a pure channel.
Look at all my nature flowers
Yes, a lot of
and
plants. I have a
and
lot of
my
plants.
and my Diet Coke. Tonight's root beer though.
Well,
But it was funny though, before you go. So before you started that in talking about the thing, Robin put in the chat room almost the same question. She said, but you know, business wise, the folks who come to you enjoy bells and whistles. Yeah, they might, but that's still a stereotype that we're trying to get out. But people want to go into that. And that's what my concern was, you know. That's the same thing with Ouija board, same thing. It's a bell and whistle.
yes,
It's something.
it is.
It's the intent of the user. It's not the board.
Right. So Robin, I can meet your challenge. So I'll address that personally. Um, and you may not believe me, but I promise you I have a testimony of this. When I pray for my clientele, I literally ask for the people that need to be served by me, that I would serve best, be sent my way. I ask to have a light on and attract those that would be attracted to my style of reading. And that's literally how my business has been built. I don't advertise, I don't do anything. And honestly, I can't even keep up with the amount of clients I get. I'm not trying to brag at all. I'm just saying the prayer works. And I don't get anybody that wants those kind of aesthetics. I don't. They don't even, they're like, oh, I'm so glad you're normal. Like, oh, I'm so glad you're a grandma. You're wearing jeans. Like, I'm so glad you're not weird looking. And I'm like, and I grin to myself because I'm thinking, I know why you're here and you're glad I'm not, because I prayed for that. And I'm not going to attract that. Now I have friends that love those aesthetics and that's what they attract. They do attract people that like that. So I think it's all designed. There's so many people out there that need to be served. We really need everyone doing this work. We need so many more people doing this work because there's so many people that actually need to be served in their way. We can't all possibly do it all. So the way I do it is not necessarily going to be the way someone would want it. So only the people that are going to want it my way are going to come to me. I hope that makes sense.
Yep, it does. It makes good. So we're talking about gallery readings too early. I've come up with, and I did with a lady. We came up with a show where we do gallery readings with multiple readers on stage at the same time. So I have up to 6 mediums on stage at once, and
Oh,
everybody
that's
everybody read
great.
everybody reads the same person.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's cool. How does it go? Is it good?
Oh, yeah, it's amazing, and the audiences love it because, first of all, there's no pause between people because the next medium is going to pick up on somebody. We'll go somewhere else, and not everybody gets all 6 or however many you have on stage at the same time. But some readings do. Some people get everybody coming through. So, and it's cool for the audience because you get to see us all working in our different ways. You know what I mean?
That's
We're getting
very
similar
cool.
messages and stuff, but all different across. And that's what's really cool is to see that work. Also, you get stronger readings because you're getting from up to 6 people. But like I
That's
said, the
awesome.
show moves so much because, like, even when I do it with 2, we both go to the person, and then whoever did the first one will break away, let the other person end, and then they will find the next one and we'd start again.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great way to do it. I love that. I love that.
So
Scotty, do you find what I was saying earlier to Robin happens to you as well? Do you find that you attract a certain type of clientele and that most people do? Do you find that to be true?
yeah, and right, I do. But there's still some, like a guy that got to me today. He came in and said, "I've never had a psychic reading before, and tell me something about myself." And I started
Oh,
telling him about it. He goes, well, everybody can say that. I said, well, okay, so we must not be connecting today. I apologize. I suggest that you go get another reading. Thanks. Have a good day.
yeah,
Oh, you can do. You can't. You'll never
I
please
know.
them, no matter what you say.
No. And it's like hunting and pecking out a potpourri. I mean, it's like, look, I mean, you are a gamut of stuff. What, pick a region.
Right.
Just give me something that you want me
Tell
to
me
look
something
at.
about myself. And I was pretty specific in what I saw. Yeah, it could be anyone. Okay,
That's funny.
done. Bye.
Oh, anybody, anybody.
Yeah, that could mean that way. Yeah, anybody.
Okay. Well,
Does it
I have a
pertain to
really
me?
good friend that tells me that, yeah, I have a friend that tells me that no matter how much we put out our intentions on the type of clientele we want to attract that works well with us, there's always, because we do this work, there's always that little bit of little bit of crazy that sneaks in,
That's true.
just a little bit, just to keep you on your toes.
So I'll have you explain to Nate what a gallery reading is.
Okay. Hi, Nate. Um, so a gallery reading is where you have a whole group of people. It can be an audience of maybe 15 people up to 150. I've done 150 to 200 or even more, huge crowds. It just depends. And what you're doing is you are creating an open forum where everybody in the room knows that this is going to be a public event where people are going to get read publicly in front of each other, and not everybody in the room will get read. Of course, if there's like 150 people, of course they're not. But what you do is you get into channel and you ask for messages for people in this crowd, and then you're going to start feeling and getting messages, and you can actually, as the reader, I'm telling you from my end, we can feel where that message is going, and then we pick them out of the audience, and then we can figure out who it goes to, and then we start this conversation, and then it's a quick little personal reading, but I like to call it like a wine tasting because it's only really a tasting of what you can do. It's not what you would do on like a 1 hour reading 101. It's just more like snippets of things and enough to where you're like, okay, she's got it. You know what I mean? And it's entertaining. And the thing that I have found that's really fun about galleries is everybody that assimilates in this room somehow seems to be connected in various ways. And so even if you don't get a reading, you get something out of that reading. It's like everybody is getting a reading out of one person getting a reading. It's really fun. It's very cool.
So that's, we call that piggybacking because the
Yes.
person over here could mean that person there and this person here. So
Yes.
not bragging, but one of my early shows, 250 people.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And
So,
not everybody got a reading. I think
oh no.
I think we ended up at 30 to 40 readings just because
That's
that was a
good.
lot. Yeah, but I have multiple people, so it moves, you know what I mean? So it goes a little bit. So I wanted to ask you, because this was always a topic of me and the people that we were interviewing to do galleries. How do you find your person? Because I'll tell you how I find mine after. But how do you find the person you're going to in a group that big, 150, that big? You know what I mean?
It's for me, it's just a feeling. I can feel myself. I can actually feel my body physically being drawn in a certain area, and that area will light up with an energy. Like I can feel it. Like last night, these ladies were all sitting on a couch, and it's almost like a spotlight goes to them, and I can feel them light up. Now, I don't always have it exactly down. Like say three ladies are sitting together, it might take me a minute to figure out which one out of those three it is, but that area is lit up, and you can just, as a reader, you can just feel it. And then of course you've got this one up here going, it's the one in the hat, it's the one in the hat, and so if they're being specific, then it makes your job a lot easier too. But that's how I do it. How do you do it?
It's different from my small galleries compared to my big galleries. My small galleries, like I'm doing a Sunday in Manitowoc, so I'm plugging myself. So in
Okay.
Wisconsin, Manitowoc, come out to the gallery and the metaphysical fair that day. But there, I look at the amount of people, and then I decide how many I'm going to do. I have an hour, hour and 10 minutes. I'll go through and then I'll calculate the amount of people and go, well, can I get to everybody? No, I can't. So this is how many I'm going to go, and this is how many I'm going to give. So that's a little bit different. But in a bigger show, a lot of times in my personal readings, I will get messages from their loved ones early. Like grandma's coming in. Here comes grandma early in the day. Go, I'm coming for. I'm like, okay, grandma. So,
Yes, I've done that too.
thank you. I'm
You're
glad
like,
you're here
oh,
already.
you're
I'm
here
glad.
early.
Yeah. I said the reading's
Yeah,
gonna go good, but
right.
I know you don't know time. That's okay. But
Yeah,
it's not until this afternoon. Um,
I get that.
but so like normally I get that, and when I go to a gallery, I get none of that. I get nothing,
Mm.
and the first time I did it was so scary because I got nothing. I'm like, am I connected? Is what's going on tonight? What? But then when I got on stage and I look out into the crowd, I all of a sudden see the eyes of the person I'm going to read sparkle, and they like
Yeah,
flash at me. I was like, whoa, I'm coming there. And then I go
nice.
across and I see one over there, and then I start getting an order. But the other thing for us, with the couch, and when I do it with other people, is that if three ladies are on the couch, all three are standing. We're going to read them all. We're going to read as a group.
Oh, that's good. Well, how do you do it if an individual, so like for me, let's just, for instance, like a mom is trying to get to her daughter out of those three girls.
Yeah,
So she's the one soliciting it. So you see
then
what
we'll
I'm
start.
saying? How do you do it
Yeah,
that way?
we just start there.
Okay, gotcha.
Which one's your
That
dog?
makes sense.
One in the middle? Okay, good. There, your mom's. We just start there. You know what I
That
mean?
makes sense.
And then
Yep, that makes sense.
the other mediums are on stage trying to connect with the other people's spirits, because everybody has them when they're coming to that show. Everybody knows that they get a chance to come through. So, it's not like people go in there and go, I'm a spirit, I'm hiding. I'm not gonna let anyone talk to me tonight. It just doesn't happen that way.
I'll be honest, I would love to share the stage because those awkward pauses are deafening.
Yeah, they're tough. They're tough. I understand them, but that's why we created the show that way.
Yeah,
So,
dead air. I call it dead air. And I'm like, oh
so
God, dead air.
we have to plan for this going forward sometime. We'll come down and do one together, because when Beth and I used to do the Buzz, my radio show for years, we used to do readings together on the radio, and so that
That's
kind
so
of
fun.
sparked, where we were going. And
That's a lot of fun.
yeah, it was great. It was a good time, and then to do over radio, it's just like doing over phone, which is the way we connect. So,
Yeah, definitely. It's really
but,
fun. Do you
but
find, go ahead.
I said, but gallery is a different form of reading than reading. It's very
Absolutely.
different. I mean, you talked about it earlier about personality, but as a gallery reader, you have to have a bigger personality, because
Yes,
because truly this is entertainment. This is a
exactly.
completely different thing. It's not your private reading where you're going to sit down and work on hurts and triggers and things
Right,
from your past. You know what I mean? That's not what this is. This is
right.
five to 7 minute reading where you're going to be blah, 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 blah,
Right.
or, I've gotten in some bad ones. I mean, that's what I wanted to ask you too, now that I'm thinking about it. So I've gotten in some bad ones where I went to this person and I knew her dad was there and I knew she didn't know if her dad was dead or not.
Ooh, that's tough.
And so I came back after intermission for that because
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, everybody's fresh. Now I'm going to come back for that one. The
Yeah.
other weird, here's my weirdest one, and I'm going to say it. I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I was on stage and there was a lady in the audience that I went to, started giving her a reading about her infidelity, and I told her she was having an affair.
In public? You did this?
I did this because
Okay, didn't you get the lesson on people skills?
right. I know, but this was stronger than anything else. Okay.
Oh
so,
God.
Okay, it gets worse. Hang on. Next thing I know, I get the arm from Jennifer, the one that that created the show. She gives me this, and she goes, "That's his husband, the medium,
Oh,
or his wife, the medium sitting next to me's wife." I went to and said he was having an affair.
oh, Scotty.
Yeah,
Oh,
I tell you, I get no respect.
oh, that's bad. That's bad. I think I would have sulked over that after
I did it
for a while on the drive home.
once again, and that's the reason I say it. Once I say it,
We're human. We're human.
but what it was is the message had to get out. It was that toxic in their relationship, them hiding it for so long. They're still together, but you know what I mean? But it had to get out in public so they would deal with this.
So you got to be the catalyst. Thanks a lot.
Right. But then again, I tell Spirit, whatever you need to tell them, give it to them.
I do the same too. I do too. And I tell people that I'm always asking for messages for their highest good. And if it's not something they need to hear, then I'm not going to get it. But I'm going to trust that if I get it, then they're supposed to hear it.
Yeah. And we always say that at the beginning of the show. Remember, whatever comes tonight is coming out. We're not here to censor all the readings if we think it's bad or not. Otherwise, we'd be saying hi, 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 hi.
Yes. Yes. I mean? Yes.
And that's the reason that now I go back to the beginning of the show when you had yours last night and let the lady cry, but it had to come out.
Mm-hmm. It did.
And we're strong enough as the people we are that we can deal with that, because we're still just giving Spirit a message. It has nothing to do with me. I gave the message that Spirit needed those two.
Right.
Nothing to do with Scotty Rorek. Nothing.
Exactly.
I didn't cheat with her.
Exactly.
He didn't, whatever. I didn't do any of it. Not me, them. And Spirit wanted it out. So it came out.
Right.
Zeta's getting her again.
That's exactly what we're doing is serving and even uncomfortable, right? Can you see me?
Yeah, now I can get you. But to me, honestly, I wasn't uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think I would have been, because of the entertainment aspect of it. I think because I am an entertainer too, because that's my past. I always did theater and all that. So I'm very conscious of stage work. Yeah. And so I have, how we all have those as a stage person, we have all the eyes behind us. And so I think on an ego level, I think I probably would have been a little disturbed because I would have been aware of the uncomfortableness in the room. You know what I mean? It wouldn't really be about them per se, but it would be about the entertainment value. Like, oh, shit, yeah, we just went there. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing, is because, like you said, we're not just doing the work when it's in a gallery, we're actually entertaining a crowd.
Right.
And
that was that. What was funny was that was the 2 nights of me telling her that her dad's dead and she didn't know. It was in the same show.
Oh God.
So this was a show of shows. I mean, we only had that night, I think we had about 80 people. And there was a lot, most of the night was crying. It was just one of those healing nights. But still, I never look back, because because once again, even though I'm entertaining and I told jokes later and, not right after, but
Yeah.
I tell jokes anyway, we
Yeah.
lightened it up. The entertainment was
Yeah.
still there. But after the show, I got so many kudos and messages after saying, we just wanted to validate that, that you were doing the right work, so it is what it
That's
is.
so cool. It is. Isn't that nice to get that too? I love that.
Yeah,
If people think that we don't need those accolades, they're crazy. We wouldn't be doing it otherwise. We do need it. I
yeah,
mean, yes, we are serving, but we still need those pats on the back because it's what keeps us going, honestly.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So that's good. That's good.
Hi,
Have you,
Jason Snyder. How are
does
you?
anybody, did Robin have any follow up on what we talked about, which I've already forgotten? And does anybody
That's
else have
okay.
any
She
questions?
said, well, funny thing she says, because she dates Keith Age, and she goes, as I tell Keith Age, a little crazy helps sell tickets. Yeah, it does.
It does. That's a good thing. Yes.
And
That's true.
with Keith, that's a big thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's funny. Whew, I always feel like sometimes when you get those particular ones, I'm like, okay, I'm being tested tonight. I'm being tested. But it's a good thing, that when the cray gets in there, you know what I'm talking about? So every now and then you can feel that. But, I like to be kept on my toes, and I like to discover all the time. The reason was, well, personally, it keeps my calendar full and I make good money. But I mean, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it just makes the day go smoother and things like that. But I do personally like that challenge every now and then. So I'm not bored. Let's just put it that way. What was that look for? What did you just say? What was that?
I was just laughing because you just came out of the wave of, Zeta. You're freezing again.
Oh, did everybody hear me? Did y'all
Yeah,
hear me?
the majority of it, yeah. So we all got the point.
Okay, good.
But it does
Okay,
make
good.
sense. I mean, and that's what it's about. I mean, that's what makes our radio show. That's what makes video shows. That's what makes all of this. It's about learning is the first thing, and about finding your community, and then
Yes.
being honored and doing that, and that's all the good work. I mean that's why at first when we were talking about psychics tonight, we were wondering if anyone would show up, and the people with egos don't show up
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
they're not there for the community. They're not there for the oneness. They're there just for anything. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's the biggest thing that I found. And the other biggest thing is everyone's business has grown because of being a part of the group. Because now
Oh, yeah.
everybody knows that this person does this. This one does healing. This one does hypnosis. Terry even does hypnosis now.
Oh, cool. Very
Because
cool.
she talks in tongues.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So
You
she's got.
know, I teach people one-on-one as well, psychic development, and I've had a lot of people ask me why I teach. They're like, why are you teaching yourself out of a job? And I'm like, I'm not teaching myself out of a job. There are millions of people out there for us to serve. And the more the merrier. And as a matter of fact, we're building each other up. We're helping each other because
Correct.
you're adding to that vibration. And we, as teachers, we're learning too. We're always learning. So for me, the more the merrier. I mean, absolutely.
I
I think
agree
it's
too.
awesome.
Because my ultimate goal is I want to be Dumbo Rorek in my own school.
I love that. I love it.
I do. I want to start a school. That I had that vision for a long time,
That's
that I want to build a place for mediums and psychics to go to learn their skills and grow. And earlier I think you mentioned the fact, what do you do this without serving people? It's about still serving people, even as a business leader, as a
yes,
manager, as a co-worker, because
yes,
if you're empathic, you'll know that your other workers aren't feeling well today or have something up,
right.
and you can help them. It's all about the way we live our lives, and the more
Yep.
we tap into these spiritual gifts and use them everywhere, the better we're going to be. And like I said earlier, I want every one of my students to be better than me. I just do. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
because then I know I'm a good teacher.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best compliment, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
And you look at
it
like
definitely is.
football, for example, the best quarterbacks in the world, have great coaches.
I agree. I agree. That's awesome. I think we would be doing a horrible disjustice if we were using our abilities to only do readings and serve if we were not giving back by teaching too. And it's about building that community. We have to do that to be responsible in this business, and it is a business. It's I just think we would be doing it a disjustice if we didn't do that. So I'm glad we're all on the same page.
I need other teachers in
Yeah.
in Hogwarts.
Yeah. Well, not everybody is naturally gifted at teaching, but if they just try and they just take that first step, maybe just mentoring somebody or guiding them through it, or maybe just answering questions, they'll get better and better at it. You don't have to go in this knowing how to teach. You learn. I would say to be psychic, put that in parallel and be teaching and guiding as well and mentoring, because there's always somebody that's going to look to you for that advice. So you need to be in that position to be able to share it.
Yeah. By the way, Robin just said you're an awesome person.
Aw, thank you, Robin. I like that. Thank you.
So, all right. So Nate did bring up a good point I want to get to. It's up here a little bit, but he goes, "Can you explain ego more?" Sure. That's actually a good topic. And you don't mind going long, do you? Or you got to run?
No, no, it's fine. That's a very good topic.
Okay, that's a big
Well,
topic.
I don't know if you
I
agree
would
with
like to,
me.
well,
Yeah.
let's find out. So far, it's been
Okay.
100%, 100%. So I don't think we're going to be that far off.
So, Nate, I think that's true. I think ego is actually a very powerful thing, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's a great thing. It's what serves us and helps us make so many decisions. It's part of our spidey senses, it's part of our social justice. There's so many reasons to rely on your ego. But an ego that's misused is a horrible thing when it is misused. And when I say that, that's where you would put how you maybe, I guess, how you would think someone would view you or how they feel about you, or you do something because you are more important than others. You put yourself before them, or you would think that you would look devalued to someone and your ego's so big you don't want to be wrong. That's a misused ego. That's not being used in the proper way. So I hope that made sense the way I'm saying it. But
It,
ego's a good thing.
it is to a degree because I call there that there's two egos,
Yeah,
a good and a bad.
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's the bad ego is the one that that says I'm bigger than everyone else, that type of stuff. I'm the pompous ego, I call it. Where the
Mhm.
where the but the other problem is it's still even in readers, and I always get this because they always say to me, well, oh, I don't know if I got that right, I don't know if I got this. I said but then I said then your ego's stepping in because you're not truly believing in spirit, because
Right.
if you, I always ask first, do you believe in spirit? Yes. I said then why don't you let them talk to you, because you'll
Mhm.
never be wrong if you listen to spirit. If you
Right.
put
Exactly.
if you put your interpretation onto it, which you're adding your ego because you think you're better than spirit, then you're wrong.
That is a great explanation to Nate. When you add your ego in by adding an explanation or interpreting what you're getting from spirit because you think you need to make that make sense to the other person, there's a difference when I say I pray to be able to deliver in a manner in which they can receive it. What I'm asking for is that terminology from spirit, not me. It's like speaking in tongues. So, but if your ego is so big that you think that you have to turn something around that you're getting from spirit to deliver it from somebody because you think they may not understand it because you're in between that, that's bad ego.
I agree,
That,
and that's tough, you know. And I had it too, and I'm not going to say that I didn't have it early on too, because I never
yeah.
thought when I first started, I was in the paranormal, and I thought I should never charge for this. Well, that's my ego again, you know. And,
Yep.
and then as I was learning this, I had a pastor, because I'm a spiritualist now, and so
Hmm.
I'm recovering Catholic. Um, so, but as I had my spiritual pastor that was teaching, And she goes, we all know that, because I said that her dad was here. She goes, yeah, I know. And you know, I mean, everybody knows my dad's passed. She said, so today, give me something that he would have never said. And so I told her, I said, your dad is talking to you about the teddy bear. And then I said, for Valentine's Day. And my teacher called me bullshit. She just stopped. She stopped the reading. She goes, did you really hear Valentine's Day? I said, no. She goes, you added more to it. So you let
Yeah,
your
because you
ego.
saw teddy bear, but it wasn't Valentine's.
Correct. And she goes, now, and I'll explain to everyone watching, if I would have said teddy bear and just left it at there, she goes, that would have been
Yes.
the best message I've ever gotten in my life.
Yes.
Because her dad was a truck driver, and every time he would come back from a long trip or haven't been there, so he wasn't there for a few weeks in class, he brought her a teddy bear, and he would do that in real life. Every time he'd come back, he'd bring her another teddy bear. So she goes, see, the message was teddy bear, and that's all you should have said, and it would have been perfect. But you had to think, you had to put yourself in or that into it. And that's what I try to teach now. We can't put any more of us in. We just got to give the message from spirit.
Exactly. I tell people all the time in my readings, I probably will not understand anything I'm giving you. Nothing. I'm just going to give it to you like I'm getting it. It's up to you to understand it. And it's okay if I don't understand it. I mean, I've had people talk to me. Yeah, we're not supposed to. And I've had people talk to me that are literally almost like using hieroglyphics between the client and me. And I'm literally just going back and forth and I have no idea what we're talking about. And that you have to be okay with that. You know what I mean? That's where you have to really let that ego go and not to be, because I have my daughters call it, what is that? FOMO, fear of missing out. So on a selfish thing, I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But you have to be able to do it without having FOMO.
Right. Right. Yeah, I understand. And we let our ego in. Our ego is also there for us not being wrong. People worry about that. And I said, just listen to spirit and you'll never be wrong.
Exactly.
And since when we've done readings together, and since I did ayahuasca, and I got to a higher plane, I do a lot of channeling in my reading and let the spirit just talk. And we're actually writing a book right now of
so are you doing trans mediumship? Are you letting them jump in you? Woo, okay.
Yep. But here's the thing. I don't go all the way out. I still hear. So I'm in the conversation.
Okay, gotcha. Makes sense.
The lady that I'm writing the book with, Kristen, she always says to me, she goes, Scotty, she goes, I can tell the difference when you're talking and my son Sean's talking.
Yeah.
Because your pauses and everything are not you. They sound just like Sean.
Yeah. So I have to admit that I do that a lot too, but I don't know I'm doing it. So okay. I'm being told later that I did that. Yeah. Yeah. So, but it's kind of scary.
Actually, it's kind of cool because your guides, your team, you're protected, and I am too, because Steve would never allow anyone to hurt me, ever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a client right now, as a matter of fact, and her son comes through all the time, and he just skips me over and comes through as him. And his mom, she just gets the biggest kick out of it because she's like, you don't, your whole face changes, your voice changes. I'm like, does it really? It's so funny. So like Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, very close. I mean, that's what we do. And when we're at a restaurant writing the book together, and he's coming through, and she's looking at the seat next to me because that's where he's sitting, and she doesn't even look at me the whole time. So I'm like wondering what all the people in the restaurant look at. Who's she talking to over there?
It is ghost. It is like Whoopi.
It is. And it's so funny, but
that's cute.
But that's what it is. I mean, and he helps. Like she'll write like a chapter, and then we'll read it, and he'll go, "No, take that out, hate it." And he's like giving all these messages for it. And then a lot of things they talk about, I don't know all the details, so I'm just they get into this conversation, and then she turns to me and goes, "Oh, maybe I should tell you who that is." Yeah, that would be great. Tell me.
Yeah,
I know.
That would be nice. Clue me in.
Did you see so and so? And did they look like this? Yeah, they look just like and all the words they're having. Okay.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun, isn't it? That's a good day when that happens. That's a very good day.
That's always fun. It's just, it's kind of neat, and
It
it's
is.
awesome to see that.
I'll tell you, if the listeners here don't know that we do seek, I said it earlier, fun in this as well, then y'all are crazy, because we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't love it.
Right.
And, just like your experience, that's a good day. That's when you can go, yeah, that rocked today,
It's a good
because
day.
it's fun. Yeah.
I can't
Did
wait.
Nate understand what we meant about ego?
And he said, great job. Thank you.
Okay, good,
Yeah, that was
good.
fun because, I can't wait to see the book out when it's done. It's his perception, of before he died and then after he died.
That's beautiful.
I know it's really kind of strange, but he gets a
That's,
lot of details, what happened that night. So,
that's very cool. What's it called? Do you have a title?
Alive on Arrival.
Mm,
Our
I
10th.
love that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
He died. He was a UW Milwaukee student that died right around Valentine's Day. And then
Oh,
Harry and I and Psychics Unite brought a bunch of mediums together to help try to find him because he was missing. And
mm,
I tapped with him, and now he's talking that in the part of the book he's talking about tapping in with mediums because and finding
wow.
how weird it was.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, and
Have you, go ahead.
no, that's all right. I don't remember what I was going to say.
It tags along with that. Sorry.
It's okay.
Have you had, I've recently been having this experience, but have you had other spirits on the other side work with you and bring you clients because they wanted you to serve them because you helped them?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. That's weird, isn't it?
that's really weird.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, I know who sent me this. I know exactly who sent me this. Yes. That's really weird. I hope
Yeah,
everybody followed that.
yeah, I know, but it's the same thing in galleries because the last one I did last week, very small gallery because it was a small show, and everyone in the room had very similar readings. That was really weird, but
Yeah.
they're all different, but the same topics came up, and I was just like, it was really strange. But I go, now I know why everybody's in the room today.
Yes. Yes. So one time I did a gallery of maybe 15 people,
Mhm.
and I promise you, Scotty, probably 10 of the ladies out of that 15, they didn't know each other. Every single one of them had an autistic son. Every single one of them. So all the readings ended up being about autism, and none of them knew each other. And they're like, oh, now we know why we were all gathered here. Like
Like
one
a
big
social
support group.
support group.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, wow, well, I just excused myself. I'll go now. Yeah. It's kind of cool.
That is,
Yeah.
it's amazing. So even in everything, so far we're still 99.9% same. So
That's cool. That's
thank you.
cool.
But
You
I
got
always
the ayahuasca experience. I haven't done that.
someday you should, and I'll help you with that.
I'm, oh, I'm so scared. I'm scared.
I understand. And it was the roughest out of the 2 days. One day was the roughest I've ever been in my whole life. But, but
I would trust you. I would trust you.
yeah, but it solidified me so much. It made my gifts so much better.
Really.
Yeah. And it took my ego away.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Because I knew that night and they showed me that night. Because when I went into it with ego, unfortunately.
Oh,
Because I thought
wow.
the medium, yeah, this should be okay. This shouldn't be too bad at all. This is gonna be kind of fun. Mwah, mwah.
No,
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 not at all. It
no.
was the worst night. They took away everything from breath to time to space to
Oh,
I couldn't even tell if I was breathing. And what was really weird is somebody said Monday. I didn't know what that meant. I couldn't figure out what
oh.
Monday was. I didn't know how to get to. I didn't get
Whew.
know how to get in the future. I was just in this present thing. It was really weird.
Wow. That's incredible. I will tell you, Scotty, one of my biggest fears, honestly, is not having control. That's
See, that
really a big thing for me.
that's mine too because it's been 33 years I'm sober, and that's the reason why I stopped drinking because I wasn't in control anymore, and that's the
Exactly.
biggest thing. And then meeting Steve, my spirit guide, and when I do this, I'm in control, and I understood this. But now I really know that I'm not in control anyway. It's not me. It's the universe guiding me spirit guiding me.
Mhm.
And I just have to trust again, because
Yeah.
the more I step away, the more things happen right for me. You know what I mean? You're frozen up. So I'll just keep talking for a second till you come back.
Do you feel like it carried over? Yeah, no, I know what you
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Do you ever feel like, do you ever want a little bit of that back in your reading? Like, do you feel like you need that lack of control in your reading now that you've experienced that?
Yeah. I don't need any of it.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. And I'm so happy that I do what I do now, because it becomes
Good.
I don't because now, in the old days I used to have to set up for a while and figure out what I'm doing, get in a mindset. But now I don't do that anymore.
Mhm.
I can I can be right here now, and I could go right into a reading now. You know what I mean? It's just like
Wow.
it's like
Woo.
boom,
Wow. I don't
boom.
I don't do that yet.
Yeah. And I can just jump, and that's the thing. People go, don't you need to get ready for your readings? Nope. Boom, boom, boom. Because that connection now, I know that connection's there. I know it. I trust it. I understand it. I know it's exactly there. I know that my guides will always be there, and I never have to worry about it. Now, the second night of my
Mhm.
ayahuasca, though, this is why the whole thing went together. Well, let me just give you another thing. The first night, I had an out of body experience. I'm standing, my body was laying on my bed, and I was standing at the bottom of my bed looking at me. And the shaman that I was there came up to me and started talking to me standing here looking at my body. And I said, I look at him and go, how the hell do you know I'm here? He goes, the same way you talk to spirit. And I went, wow, amazing.
That's amazing.
He goes, but that's the
And
same
then,
way. He goes, that body there is not you. This is you.
right. And I understand that on a intellectual level, but I don't know, and I've seen it in my readings, but I don't know that I have the actual grasp that you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about? The
Yeah, I understand,
experience
because
level.
I didn't have it at first either. And Nate says ayahuasca. I hear the same experiences for people over and over again. Losing ego, change of views. Yeah, very much. And now the second night. So my first night, I almost didn't do second night. I already booked a hotel. I was leaving. This was so awful. But the second night, I took it right before and I canceled the room, and I stayed. And the second night, they taught me about love. They taught me everything
Oh.
about unconditional love, like regular love, any love. I knew everything. And it showed me how I could heal people with love, how I could.
Mm.
And so I was walking around the room with my arms out like this, and like standing by people that are on their journeys, being healed. And I'm sitting there with like this, and the shaman walks by me. He goes, "Oh, I see they're teaching you love tonight." I said, "Yes." I said, "You want me to sit back down?" Nope. He says, "You're practicing, keep going." And I went around the whole room, and people would like wake out of their trances and stuff just like that, because they felt the love.
Oh,
And,
gosh.
and ever since then, that's why you see me. I don't like anything on anyone's Facebook page. I always love it.
Mm.
I always put
Mm.
out.
That's funny. I do too. I do too. That's
I
weird.
never.
I don't even know why I do that.
Now you know why.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what it
That's
is. It's
funny.
about us giving love, about us throwing that out, and
Yep.
that's why a lot of my posts talk about love, because that
Yep.
that is what the other side is,
Yeah.
and they
I
said, so
agree.
here's another one for you that I created. I created the difference between ghost and spirit.
Tell me that. I might have some listeners on here that want to know that. I've
Okay.
had that question. Tell me.
A ghost is a person that was living that died that hasn't gone all the way across.
Hmm.
So they're kind of stuck here on earth, in this realm, or
Hmm.
dimension, or whatever you want to call it, because they have other theories on it. But the simple version is they haven't crossed all the way over. Where a spirit
Right.
has crossed all the way over and is of love. And that's how I know the difference between spirits and ghosts when they come up to me. So now when I ghost hunt, I can tell if they're a spirit or if they're a ghost right away by
Yes.
the love.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. And I have not been able to verbalize that to my team members when we're on a trip. And
Mhm.
I've been challenged with that before. And I didn't really know how to verbalize that, but that you just explained it beautifully. And there, yes, it is so obvious the difference. It's very obvious by the feeling.
100% different. You know right away. You know right away if that's a ghost or if it's a spirit. You just know.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes sense. Totally. So, well, that's awesome. Well, you might talk me into the ayahuasca one day. I am truly scared to death, though. I will tell you,
It,
truly scared.
trust me, it's going to take a while to get you ready because now after I did it, I now know what preparation looks like and the intent. And again, it's intent. And I'm glad Spirit did it to me. I really am because it took the ego away from me, got me away from it. Because even back then, I still had some, and I understood it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because I would love to pride myself in saying that I don't interject my ego, but obviously I do sometimes,
yeah,
obviously.
I mean, I still do a little bit, but I know when I'm doing it, and I go, oh, I mean, it's so obvious now when you're adding ego,
Do
and they
you
took it away.
you always get me in trouble. You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Hmm.
Do you remember the last time you got me in trouble?
No, I don't remember the last time because there's so many times I can't remember everyone.
On the radio show when you convinced me to allow myself to get touched. Do you remember that?
I do.
You did it.
I know I did.
Remember how scared I told you I was? I'm like, no, I don't want to be touched. I don't want to be touched.
And now, how is it? You like it now, don't
Oh yeah, yeah, I love it. I love
you?
it.
Isn't that great? It's a wonderful.
Yeah. So now we're gonna have to see how this ayahuasca go. I'm afraid to talk to you anymore.
I
You always get me in trouble.
do. I do. I broaden
Just
your
raise my
horizon.
bar.
I
Raise
do.
my bar.
Okay. Beth, you can't stay there. Got to keep moving.
Definitely, definitely.
But that's
Oh,
what it is. I mean, I'm if I knew what ayahuasca was before I went into it, I don't know if I would have done it either. You know what I mean? So I'm
right.
glad that my ego is there that made me cocky going in because boy, I mean, it was tough. It was I couldn't, a little living room. I thought it took me an hour to walk across, an hour,
Mm.
and it's only like a couple feet. I mean, time, space, everything, breath, heartbeats. I couldn't feel anything. I didn't know. And every time he would come over, he goes, "But you have your CPAP mask on. How are you not breathing?" I just don't know. I'm not breathing. But you're talking. Yeah,
So
I know I'm
funny.
talking, but
Wow.
that's the crazy stuff. You know what I mean? That's the where but the amount of connection that I have with spirit now is so different.
That's neat. That's cool. I'd like that. I'd like to raise my bar. That'd be cool. Because I love my connection now, but I mean, if it can be intense, that would be great.
Yeah, it is. But the other thing is it's that calming and that ability to get it
Yeah.
at any time.
Yeah. That would be great because I even teach that whole getting in, getting ready. You know what I mean? Because I still do it. I don't go in cold into anything. I literally prepare. It's not a long ritual. It's just more like an intentional space.
Right,
You know what
right.
I mean?
I know I did it too before. I understood it. And so,
Hmm.
but like in my classes now, I teach everybody about the meadow. And that's that place inside of you that you go when you need to be ready, when you need to
Right.
be. So I teach everybody that's where we start. Nate just got his medal and he sent me a picture today. So great job, Nate. Um,
Aw, great
'Cause
job,
yeah,
Nate.
he had his first class this week. And so, but what was amazing, I told him this too, was that his medal is almost identical to everybody else's medal that I teach because the
Wow.
medal is universal.
Yeah.
So even though we think we're creating, because I tell everyone, create your own medal. And
Yeah.
99.9 are all very similar. I mean, very similar.
That's
I just know
awesome.
that you're connected. And I told Nate and Devin was one of my students too. Originally I said to them, I said, you know, the meadow is a place that we build, but it's the place of our love. And you know, and then I saw here's where my validation came in. because Steve has been helping me, and Spirits from the Other Side has been helping me with my class. And so, so the other day I watched a thing on Netflix about this doctor who died, who didn't believe in the afterlife or anything, and now is totally a believer because he had a near-death experience. And
Just
now
take
he's
it once. Yeah.
and he's describing this on that Netflix show. He's showing me, he shows everybody what he saw and where he went, and he went to the meadow with the same thing with the trees
That's
and
awesome.
the mountains.
Yes.
And Terry looks at me and goes, "That's your meadow you teach." I go, "Yes, it is, isn't it?"
Yes. Yes. That's exactly right. Mine too, I don't know if you've ever seen this element, but I see Mother Earth as like this really voluptuous, jolly kind of fat lady that's all love. And she's at the core of the earth, and her tree roots come out of the earth in the meadow. And she grabs my feet and grabs my feet with her branches and holds me down. So I'm like in place. So I'm not going anywhere in the presence. And I always see that every time, even when I'm not thinking about her, she goes zoop and goes bloop like that. And it always has a her assigned to it in my head. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, thanks. So I don't know
I
if you've ever seen anything like that.
No, I haven't, but close, because I have Mother Ayahuasca with me.
Mm,
She came to me that night, and she's never left.
wow.
And now
Is that universal too? Has everybody had that?
I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know, but she's been with me ever since, and I don't know if it's because I'm a reader or
Right.
whatever, but she's with me, and she's on my team. My spirit guide, my spirit animal,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mother Ayahuasca. So, I mean, so those are my three teams before I go into anything. I go, "Guys, ready? Yeah, we're ready. Let's go." And away you
That's
go.
awesome.
You
So
know,
Mother Earth is on my team as well. That's
right. So
cool.
that's what it is, right? Do you have your spirit
Yeah.
animal?
Hmm. No, I thought I did at one point in time, but every time I went to that space of intention, it never showed back up. It wasn't consistent.
Okay.
So
Then that's not,
no.
then that's not your one.
Right. I mean, my ego wanted to claim one, but I let it go because I knew that wasn't it.
Right.
Yeah. So no, not at all. I talk to animals all the time. They
Right.
come in all the time, but I always think they're for other people, and they usually are. So, but
Oh, so I'm going to start crying. Devin says,
why?
she goes, "No, I heard ayahuasca chooses her students."
Oh, that's so
Oh,
sweet.
seriously, I'm going to cry.
I
Oh,
love that. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
you keep talking. I'm crying.
Scotty's crying. I just think take a moment, take a breath. That's
Oh, my
beautiful.
God.
Yeah, definitely. Meanwhile, I got this anime lady at the core of the earth that's mine. I always think of
Sounds
them
like,
maybe
that's
spirited
like,
away.
that's like, yeah, I know. I know what you're doing. Hey,
That's what I always think of.
here's a movie that you ever saw. Did you ever see Kung Fu Panda 3?
Yes,
Isn't that the most spiritual movie you've ever watched?
yes,
It was like the
yes.
people were totally did ayahuasca, did all the spiritual stuff. It was all there.
I know. Then they wrote it. Yes,
I was like,
definitely.
man, that's so cool. That's like one of our favorite movies that way.
I think also What Dreams May Come. Isn't that the way you say it? I think that's it. Yeah, that one is a top for me too on that whole gamut. You know what I mean? Like, there's a few things a little off, but when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I see this every day. So
Well,
that's funny.
that's a funny thing. I talk about a lot of people that I do readings and my students. I say, ready to take the pill?
Yeah.
Because I said, once we start, there's no turning off.
Yes. You can't unsee it. You don't
Right.
unsee it.
Right.
No,
Yes,
no.
you can put it away. You can protect yourself. You don't have to
Yes.
listen to it all day long, but
Right.
you'll never not know it's there again.
Exactly. And I hate to tell you this, but once you're aware and you're awake, that means you have to be responsible too. So you're
There you
not,
go, Spider-Man.
yeah. So people are like, well, what if I don't want to see this anymore? I'm like, I hate to tell you, not going to happen.
No, but that's why I asked for the intent up first. Are you really wanting this? Is this something you really want to go? Because I'm not playing with this. This is not.
Right.
This is not a game of Monopoly for me.
Right. Right.
This is
Absolutely.
real life. This is real intent. This is real. love and you know, and dedication and stuff. So there's a lot that goes with this. But like, you know, like Beth said earlier, it is fun. It is exciting.
Mhm.
We have a good time. We say a lot of jokes. We, you know, spirits crack me up all the time. And it's,
All the time.
yeah, when my gallery reading last weekend, I had a guy come in and to the side, and I said he was in the forces, and he was like your uncle, and he goes, "Yeah, my uncle." And we called him Mr. Magoo, and he says he looked like him. And I looked at his uncle's face. I started busting out. I was just done. It's like he does look like Mr. Magoo.
I love it when that happens, and I forget that there's an audience there sometimes, and you're like, "Oh wait, I guess I should clue you guys in." Sorry. Yes, I love that. That's awesome. You know, I that was one of the questions I had for you. Have you ever noticed that the crowd here is way less to handle than this crowd? This crowd gets rowdy.
This one's crazy. Cray, cray, cray,
Right,
cray, cray, cray.
right.
Fun.
It's like,
Yeah, we're doing good. You know,
yeah. And I'll have people say, like, sometimes I'll slip up and say, man, there's a lot of energy in here. And people go, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, no, it's not you, it's them.
it's them.
Yeah,
And so
they're
then,
crazy.
so here's the crazy thing. That Mr. Magoo spent the rest of the day with me. He just kept coming back.
Oh,
I was like, okay, you come back. It's not your reading, but come on back. Bring through whatever you
that is, that's awesome. I love that. That's fun. That's really fun. That's cute.
but
Well,
it's
do we have any more questions? Anybody else that want
well,
to know anything?
more questions. Keep going, folks. Robin says,
Aw,
Robin says, with great power comes great responsibility.
yes.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Yep. Definitely. Absolutely. And I'll tell you, I've had people ask me like they'll say something like, what if I don't want to hear something? Like, what if I don't want to hear about that or something like that? Or they're trying to avoid it. I'm trying to put this in good words. I'm not in channel, obviously, or I'd have much better verbiage. But
I know what you're saying.
but you know, if you're not getting it one way, once spirit knows you have the ability to pick up on them and see them or understand them or receive, they're relentless. So if you're ignoring it in one fashion, they're going to give it to you in another fashion. And that's a lot of times why sometimes readers get sick or they get worn out or they may end up with an ache in their arm or something like that, because if they're not really accepting it in one way, then they're going to continue to get hounded until they get it and acknowledge it in another way. And our bodies is our biggest barometer. That is our biggest meter, and it will tell everything. If you're not listening cognitively, then your body's going to come into action.
Right.
You know,
Devin says it's because the crowd isn't confined by time,
exactly.
and they are persistent. Yeah, they're very persistent.
Very persistent. I had a lady push herself down the stairs yesterday to get through to us. So yeah, they're persistent.
Yeah, but like I say, you know, like for example, you know, spirit wants to be heard. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why they're around. That's why they're there. They're here to try to help us. But it's like if you
Right.
went to so say we went to a convention where everybody was deaf, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you were in the back and you weren't, and you scream, "Hey!" across the whole room, and one person turns around, you're gonna go talk to them. And that's what
Right.
spirit.
Exactly. And once they tell their friends that you can hear, then they send their friends.
Yeah, but like I tell everybody now, I have my barber pole out, and they just know that I'm there. They don't have to scream at me all day.
Right. I tell people it's like a flashlight in a dark room. And so when they see that flashlight on, they're like, hey, that one could see. And they run over that way, you know. So yeah, that's what it's like. So, you know, you can turn your flashlight off, you know, during your non-work hours if you want to, but really your flashlight's always kind of shining.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, hate to
All
say
right,
it.
and over at the 8:30 mark, and that's 9:30
Yeah.
for you, you know, so why don't we give all your websites and where everybody can come and see you? I will have you on the show anytime you want to make a night with it. Just let
Aw.
me know.
Well, thank you.
I already got the
Invite me
poster done,
anytime.
so that's okay. So I can just put it up.
Yeah, you did a good job. You did a very good job.
That was Nick
Invite
Sarbo.
me.
That was Nick.
Oh, thank you, Nick.
He did, he's the group
Yeah.
leader of the paranormal group. He makes all the all the graphics and stuff. So Nick does a nice job.
Well, thank you, Nick. You did a great job. Yeah, invite me anytime. And if people have pre-questions they want to send or a topic they want to talk about, I'd love to hit me up. It would be fun. I enjoy it.
Maybe one
I'd
day we
rather,
would do a couple readings.
yeah, we could do that. That'd be fun. We're good together. We're definitely good together. Well, for me, you want me to plug first and then you plug? Okay. So for me, it's literally bethpeterspsychicmedium.com. So email is beth@bethpeterspsychicmedium.com. My website is bethpeterspsychicmedium.com. If you Google Beth Peters Psychic Medium, or you could even put Beth Peters Atlanta, I come right up. And Google Maps, same thing. And Facebook and Instagram, it's all the same. And I look like me in like all of my pictures, so not hard to find.
No.
So look me up, and you'll find links, by the way, if you go to my Google page or Google Maps, you could book right from there. Or my website, there's a button there where you can book an appointment if you want to book an appointment. I do phone readings as well as in-person readings, so either one. And if anybody wants to hire me to come travel to their state, I'll come. I like it. So yeah, that's it.
I gotta remind me, I gotta tell you something off the air. By the way, I am Scotty Rorek, Psychic Medium on Facebook. That's where you can book me right now, or my website, scottyrorek.com. Scotty Rorek this, Scotty Rorek that, Scotty Rorek on Google, Scotty Rorek this, Scotty Rorek. So just look me up. I'm there. You can't find, I'm there. I think I got like 60 pages of Google now that I'm on.
Yeah, right? We're easy, aren't we?
What? Oh, where did that come from? It was fun. I saw some like Russian pages and
Oh,
Chinese pages and stuff that I'm on. They're doing stuff with me on it. I'm like, okay, this is awesome.
that's funny. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. And Beth, thank you. It was an amazing,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys.
We will see everybody next Wednesday night right here on Shadow Hunters, Paranormal Investigations and Events page. If I could say that all in one phrase. Okay. Good night, everybody. Love you.
Bye.